The breaking news earlier today came right about noon is Bryce Young will not play in Thursday's preseason opener. That's a decision made by Dave Canales. Bryce Young, throughout the last few days, has been very clear that he will trust whatever Coach Canales wants to do as far as whether Bryce plays or not, and he's confident that he can be ready regardless of what happens. It's a good player backing up his coach. If you want the full reaction to the Bryce Young side of this, feel free to check it out on our YouTube page from our home station here, 99.9 The Fan. Go to YouTube, look it up, 99.9 The Fan. You'll get 20 minutes of instant reaction to Bryce Young not playing on Thursday. But there is a element of that decision that we did not touch on, and that is the Dave Canales side of this. Because guess who has never been a head coach?
Dave Canales.
Dave Canales. And guess who's never called an offense for Bryce Young in an NFL game?
Dave Canales.
And guess who needs to get on the same page with everything prior to week one?
Let's see if I go 3 for 3 here. Dave Canales.
No, actually, no, I'm kidding. Yes, of course, Dave Canales. That answer was Andy Dalton. No, Dave Canales. Dave Canales needs to know how Bryce Young communicates during a game. And as much as you can get the refs out at practice, right? You can have refs there. As much as you want to play 11 on 11 and, hey, this one's live, get the clock going, 2-minute drill, minute and 26 seconds, it's 3rd and 5 at your own 40, go. It's not the same as being out there in a real game situation, which a preseason is not the intensity. It's not the level of play. It's not the same players out there, especially if one or both teams are holding out starters. But the mechanisms are the same. The play clock. They don't play with a longer or shorter play clock in the preseason. The TV commercials, right? The sudden change, right? If Bryce Young goes out there and has a drive, successful, unsuccessful, doesn't matter. Comes to the bench. Do you know what every single offensive coach will say the first time they talk to their quarterback after any drive? What are you seeing?
Yep.
Right? You need to make sure that what the coach is seeing, either up in the booth, if it's a play caller up in the booth, an offensive coordinator, or whoever's on the sideline, if they're calling the plays, you have to make sure you're seeing the same thing. Right? Hey, I'm seeing the safeties creep down on 3rd down. Perfect. I'm seeing that too. Next 3rd down, let's take a shot over the top. Right? And those things need to be communicated in shorthand, right? Like safety's down on 3rd down. Well, does that mean they're creeping down and you can beat them deep? Does that mean they're flying down to stop the run? Is it both safeties? Is there a tell based on which personnel is out there? Like there's so many little things that need to be communicated very quickly because guess what? That quarterback on the other side of the field might throw an interception on his first play. Boom, get back out there. Or Bryce Young might have to talk with the coach, then go talk to Deontay Johnson, right? Hey, on 3rd downs, you're supposed to cross in front of the safety, but they're creeping down. Go behind him. We're going to try to take a shot, right? Conversation with Canales, conversation with Deontay Johnson. Now I got to go tell the offensive line, hey, give me everything you got on this play on 3rd down. And by the way, I'm making it very, very simple. I'm making it, this is all off the top, right? It could be more complicated. It could be more simple, these conversations. Dave Canales needs to know how everything works with his players, right? Preseason is a good time for that. You know what preseason is a great time for?
Getting reps.
A couple delay game penalties, right? Where the quarterback and the coach aren't quite on the same page. Right? The quarterback's got his hands over the ear holes on his helmet because he's trying to hear on the radio, and the coach is rifling through something, but the quarterback isn't understanding what he's trying to say, and he's looking at him, palms to the sky, going like, what the heck are you saying? And boom, brrr, delay game. It's a great time for that in the preseason. Do you know why? No harm, no foul. Nobody cares about the preseason.
Or the cadence and the time in between the quarterback and the center might be off just a little bit.
Like all of those things are great in the preseason. And that's for Dave Canales too. We will talk till our faces are teal and black, till they're black and blue about all of the growing pains that are expected for young quarterbacks and all of the patience that is expected for young quarterbacks, because Bryce Young is still going to make mistakes. And we're going to talk about it. We should talk about it. Adam Gold will talk about it. He'll have guests on to talk about it. But there's also a rookie head coach out there, right? Bryce isn't the only one who is going to not get a true game look by not playing this Thursday in the preseason. Dave Canales is not going to get a true game look, right? Everything we've heard about Bryce Young, from the moment he stepped on campus at Alabama, and if you pay attention to college football recruiting from like his sophomore year of high school out there in California, he is prodigious with the playbook. He is a savant with understanding football. He is top-level football IQ. Interviews, great. Crushes it on the whiteboard. All of that. So I would assume he and Dave Canales have pretty graduate-level conversations, right? Have you ever been stuck in that situation where you're talking with two buddies that are like both lawyers or something, or they're both doctors, and they're chopping it up about work, and you recognize like half of the words that they say? They're like, yeah, so the other day I was working on a gargantuanoscopy, and the guy came in and he said, did you use the Cornelius cut? And I'm just like, what the heck does any of that mean? I assume that's what it's like to be around Canales and Bryce, right? These super geniuses. Well, Jack Plummer's been in the NFL for a blink and comes from a college offense where he had a ton of play action pass plays because his running game was great at Louisville. I assume Dave Canales dumbs it down a little bit for Jack Plummer. You don't want Dave Canales getting used to that, and he doesn't. It's an exaggeration, and before everybody gets on me on Twitter, I'm not saying like, oh, if you dumb it down for a rookie, you can't talk to the veteran. I'm just saying they need to be a well-oiled machine from top to bottom by the time that week one hits. Dave Canales and Bryce Young's communication, in-game, at a game, sideline, in the headset, in timeouts, hand signals, body language, perfect. And then it starts there and it tumbles down, meaning Dave Canales has to be able to communicate with Bryce Young fantastically. Bryce Young has to be able to communicate with Deontay Johnson fantastically. Probably already does with Adam Thielen. Has to get Jatavian Sanders, their tight end who's thrust into the starting lineup due to injuries. Has to get him on the same page. Miles Sanders probably all right. Chuba Hubbard probably all right. Jonathan Brooks, have to get him up to the same page. Dave Canales not playing Bryce Young is not just not playing Bryce Young. It's also a brand new head coach, new play caller in town, who only has 1 year of play calling experience, offensive coordinator last year for Tampa, not playing the quarterback that he's going to be playing with during the regular season in the preseason. Opener on Thursday against the Patriots. Dave Canales talked today. If you missed it, we played this earlier. We'll play it for you again. This was Dave Canales explaining the decision to not play Bryce Young on Thursday.
Bryce will not play, okay? And then we'll take that kind of week to week and get a sense for, do we need to get him out there in this system and kind of get a couple of series, and do that. That's something that, I've done in the past. We've done both. So for this game, he will not play.
More audio from Dave Canales on Bryce Young not playing on Thursday.
Not the way Jack's been playing. So that's the cool part, is I'm excited about that. And we brought in Jake Luton as well, a guy that's been around a couple of different teams. I was with him in Seattle for a little bit. So a guy that knows how to play football and function, that's what we really needed to feel good about the evaluation and how important that is, So we brought him in. We're working him into some of the wording. Some of it's the same, a little bit different in some, but we got to make sure our cadence is right so we can just get the play started. And he's really sharp. And so I'm glad he's here, and he's going to give us that ability to evaluate our guys.
We'll see if he gives you the ability to evaluate your guys. We'll see that on Thursday.
Let's see how the chemistry is between him and Deontay Johnson as they're trying to throw a deep ball down the field.
I assume Deontay's not playing. If Bryce isn't playing, I think it's going to be very difficult to get the top-end starters out there.
So does Xavier Legette even play now on
Xavier
Thursday?
Legette's, they already said
Right,
he's
already
likely
because of
not
the
playing
injury.
because of the foot injury. But I believe Mingo will be out there because he kind of has to be and needs to go continue to impress. Terrace Marshall will be out there. Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette. I'd be surprised if
Any of those
Chuba
guys.
Hubbard
Yeah.
plays. The interior of the offensive line, I don't know if they play. Taylor Moton shouldn't play. It's going to be the backups. Let's just call it what it is, with a couple starters or a couple of the contributors mixed in.